It's really, I'll put her together here in a little bit and we'll actually run it through some paces so you can hear the noise level. Did very well. Now we just got to find a place that we can store it. What we've done right here is just use the box, took the OTA off, and set it back down inside its foam. Here's those alignment pins, one on each fork. When you set that up, you have to actually rotate your fork clear around so that your alignment pins, of course, are at the top. You definitely want them at the top. You can slide it in there. It'll hang right there. It looks pretty precarious. So very something you don't want to leave hanging there very long. I don't like the look of it at all. I had my son with me, and we both kind of worked together on it. So we were, one of us was holding it while the other one was starting to run in these bolts. There's 4 bolts on each side, 2 underneath here, and 2 on the bottom side. I got myself went to Lowe's and picked up these little dollies, so I can move this thing around pretty easily here in the garage, and it really helps. If you got a flat surface, like if you're going to store it in your garage, you get a set of those, and it seems to work really well. Now I haven't did it with the OTA on there, but I'm pretty sure it'll hold fine. Each one of those will support 200 pounds, and I think that's going to work fine for in here in the garage. Okay, as you can see, I went ahead and put the OTA on top of the mount. It's all set up. I'll point out a couple things setting here. Star lock cable goes from the star lock down to the left fork. Cable has 2 different size plugs, so you can't get it mixed up. I went ahead and purchased the separate or optional micro focuser, and it plugs also into the left fork. And there's also another 12 volt DC output on this left fork. I'll get up and walk through it a little bit. What I wanted you to do is that you'll be able to see how loud it is. Here we go. Not sure what speed I'm on. Let me see here. That's the max speed. So as you see, it's relatively quiet compared to the older models. Still a bit noisy, way much noisier than say a Atlas EQG, whatever it's called that they have. It's noisier than my Celestron CGE. But then again, it's a fork mount, and that's to be expected, I guess. So anyway, let me take you around and show you a few things. Here it is, up close and personal. Micro focuser. it's a must with this scope. This 7-to-1 focuser here, it's real stiff. It actually has a good feel to it, but it is stiff. And when you're turning this, the image, it goes all over the place. I don't know of any other way to describe it, but if you would try to focus with this, now if you just did the fine adjust, you might get by with it, but it even shakes when you use the fine adjust. So get it real close, get you a micro focuser, and use the handheld then to operate the focuser. And there's absolutely no movement with that micro focuser. Take you around, show you this. I do have one complaint, another complaint, and I think it's showing up in the video. There's a blemish right on my OTA, right here, and that came from the factory that way. Come right out of the box. We noticed that as soon as we got it out in the sunlight. Not very happy about it because you can see it clear from back here. Star lock, like I said, worked really well last night. I don't know where you're at, but over here there's a lot of pollen, and we got a good bit of pollen yesterday evening on the corrector plate. I think that's a proper term. Down here, of course, are the weights. They slide on this rail. It's a metal rail. The weights are pretty significant, and what I don't like about it is adjusting them, because if you see here, see if I can get my camera up in there. There's a couple hex head screws right here, and of course you got to use an Allen wrench, so it'd be good to do a modification with a longer thing that you can just turn with your hand to loosen those up, because if you have to move them in and out any, just another tool you got to pull out. There it is from the top side. These cables are pretty nice, seem to be pretty good quality. They are hard to put on with your finger to get a good solid connection, so they got a screwdriver slot in them, and that's what I've been using. I don't over tighten them, I just get it snug. That's definitely something you want to have on there, that you don't want those to come loose during your observing. What else here? That's about it, really. Like I said, it performed pretty well. Had a few issues. I'm hoping it's a stable photography platform, but I'm not sure. When you're moving this, of course, I know you set your rough focus and then you use a micro focuser, but definitely if you touch this thing, you get a lot of bounce, and I don't know of any way to fix that. That's just the nature of the fork. But I suppose if there was no wind and you had a good polar alignment and your camera was good and secure, then you'd be able to do some good photography with it. And of course, they haven't come out yet, I don't think, with the focal reducer to make it an f5. But that's definitely something you probably want also. And again, clearance issues. We don't have any idea how much clearance we're going to have for the camera, and it's not looking good to me as far as, but of course, you're never going to be, well, very rarely are you going to be doing any photography right towards Polaris. So you do have a good range of motion. I mean, even if your OTA is like pointing here, whatever, you're not even close to hitting anything. So I think clearance would probably be okay. What I don't know about is how stable it's going to be. So, and that's one of the reasons why I bought it for astrophotography with kind of a large bucket. So Anyway, we'll see how it works out. Hope you enjoyed the video. I know there's not too many of these out there yet. So that's it. If you have any questions, you can email me. I'll put my email somewhere in the video. I'll give you one closer look again. Oh, let me show you this here too. I forgot to point this out. Another, must be on the other side. Saw the blemish on the OTA I pointed out earlier, and there's also on one of these bottom forks, there's an actual scratch on the paint. Fortunately, it's black paint. I suppose we can get the type of paint exactly, and you could touch it up and you'd never know it. And there's also a scratch on my on one of the legs. But being black paint like that, I guess that's a good thing. So again, the trouble last night mainly was with these. You know, you get them, you loosen them, just do your adjustments, and then tighten them back down. But when you tighten them down, it's still going to turn on you a little bit. So I think the best thing to do is to have this center bolt good and snug, and get these somewhat tight, and go ahead and turn that. Not a lot of pressure. You don't want to put too much because of this fork mechanism down here. You don't want to break it. It's cast. I believe it's cast. Now, I don't think it is cast, so it's probably stronger than the rest of the tripod. However, it's only held on there with 2 hex head screws. So get these somewhat tight, and then you can turn this and you won't have to touch these again. You've got positive hold with this center bolt coming up through. This is where your bolt comes up through right here. This is actually threaded into this piece, and it sets right down into a slot. So that cannot move once it's in there. And the other issue was adjustment in the other direction. Like I said, with these bolts here, every time you tighten them up, you get a little bit of movement. And we sheared off the indicator, and it was no fault of ours. This washer just actually flipped and just sheared the thing right off of there. I don't know why it's designed that way. So anyway, there it is. Meade's new LX600 12-inch with the X wedge micro focuser, star lock system. Like I said, it did perform well. Starlock was pretty cool actually when you got an indicator light. You can see this indicator light right now is blinking. That means, well, it was. It'll blink here in a minute. When it's blinking, it means it's trying to locate a star. It's trying to find a star out there and start tracking on. Once it's solid red, it's actually tracking. It's found the star, it's locked in, and it's tracking. If there's no light at all, it's basically turned off. And you can turn that off through the handheld. So there you go.